Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning this episode, Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have a powerhouse guest. We have the incredible Grammy Award winning multi platinum producer, Dockish. Dockish has helped shape modern hip hop and is best known for Eminem's global hit We Made You, which cracked the Billboard Hot 100, Top 10, and charted worldwide. With over a two-decade amazing career, he's worked with legends like Wu-Tang Clan, Joe Budden, KRS-One, and many more. Beyond music, Dockish is a founder of the amazing InYaHead Academy, using music therapy and digital media to empower at-risk youth. Dockish is also a co-host of the Doc and Danze Show with Billy Danze and was inducted into the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History in 2023. Welcome to the multi-talented Dockish, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thank you for having me on here.
You're very welcome, my friend. All right, let's jump straight into it. Take us back.
Yes.
Tell us
All
about your
right.
family, your life growing up, and everything relating to that.
Um, it's a long story, but I basically I grew up a little bit differently than most people. And I moved around a lot. I was born in Dallas, Texas, what a lot of people don't know. But I was raised mostly on the East Coast and in the Northeast. And My family history is like the typical father leaves home, never comes back, goes out for a pack of cigarettes. But mine was more chasing his secretary. But and then so the man that actually took the place, he was an African American gentleman. So we grew up in a very interracial setting of a household. So so I didn't grow up as your typical Irish boy who was surrounded by a bunch of mix and alcoholics and stuff like that. So it was definitely different, and it's funny because growing up, I played sports. So like my whole life was all about playing sports, being an athlete. Playing soccer, playing football, baseball, basketball, you name it. Especially when Jordan came out, everybody wanted to be like Jordan. So I and then strangely enough, I got sick a lot. So I had a lot of health issues growing up. And they didn't. I was hospitalized my sophomore year, and then I was hospitalized again my senior year. But my sophomore year, they got scared and they wouldn't allow me to play sports anymore. So that turned into a lot of depression because my whole life was so set on sports, going to college, playing, go, hopefully go into the league in whatever sport. So who knew I had a hidden talent in music? And I found the outlet and started, my boy Khalid, he goes by Class from SUP out here in Hartford. He was making beats on the ASR 10, and I thought it was cool as hell. And I was like, how you do that? But I DJ'd in middle school, so I came up with some music background, but I didn't take it serious because I took sports more serious. But I used to DJ parties, seventh and eighth grade for high school kids, and that's how I made a lot of my money was doing that. So I knew about blending, I knew how to cut and stuff like that. So that part plus my uncle, he was a drummer, so it helped, the background of the foundation of making the beat, right? And then that's how I got into the whole music stuff. And then by the time I was a senior in high school, I got sent down to Virginia, and there was a record label that was under Missy Elliott and Malik from M5, and he signed me and a couple members of my crew, and then we were on the label until the IRS came and shut it down. And then so I moved to New York City, and I lived in Brooklyn for a while, and I got my first production deal from there, and then everything else went from there.
That's really fascinating. Wow, it's an incredible story.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of layers to it, but I'm trying to make it quick. You know what I mean? For you.
I get it. I get it. How did the name Dockies come about?
So it's funny because my first name was Doctor Strange, and that was before like the Marvel movies and all that stuff was coming out. And so I thought it was cool because I always wanted to be a doctor growing up. So I was going to play sports, but then my overall goal was to go to college and become a doctor. So doctor has always been there, you know what I mean? And then because there was already a Dr. Dre and it was and then Starang Wonder came out from the Boot Camp Clique. Back in my day, you couldn't have a name that was remotely close to anybody else's. You had to switch it up. So everybody liked Doc, but we try to figure out like what. And then one day, my boy Swift, who was part of my first rap group, which was DNA, Doc and Apollo, he came up with Ish, and was like, "What's it gonna, what's it mean?" And then because I was a rapper actually first, and a producer, so like Doc was like the scientist, Ish was the artist, the rapper. So it was like split personalities. And my brother was like, Ish stands for intelligence surpasses hatred, because my brother, who was the son of Herschel, who my mother was with, coming from an interracial family, we were heavy on that, you know what I mean? So it was just crazy because I was like, yo, that's dope. And then we just rocked with it ever since. Like, we joked around and be like, I'm so high, and have other different nicknames for it. But yeah, I was a senior in high school when we came up with it. I tried to change it actually a few times. It stuck. It stuck with me, and I was Doc-ish forever. So, I like it now. You know what I mean? But back then I was kind of like 50-50.
It's a tremendous name. I love it. Tell me about your incredible organization, InYaHead Academy, and how that came about and what it means to you personally and professionally.
So that's a good question. So InYaHead Academy started from InYaHead Productions, which was my production group. And in 2007, I finally figured out how to run after school programs and help kids. So for years, I was always helping out kids that had been convicted of violent crimes, kids that had been in gangs, locked up. And so we used music therapy. I thought it was cool if they learned, production and recording and engineering and stuff like that. And then I didn't realize how therapeutic it was, not only for the kids, but for myself. And a lot of kids would, tell their backstories or vent or channel their anger and frustration into something positive. And once I started just running with it, we started having a lot of impact stories. A lot of kids that were in gangs were fighting literally before. Like, I had one kid who literally got beat up by the other kid, and we're in the same class together. And that was my first day with them. And so it's crazy because they understood, respected that my space was like Switzerland. So it's like, whatever comes here is safe. What happens in the streets stays in the streets. So it was amazing because my first year doing it, they became friends at the end. And it was an impactful moment. And the director, she was of DCF, she was crying at the ceremonies and stuff like that. And so I was like, I really want to do this. I never really could commit full time to it because of my music career. It's a lot. You have to be there for the kids. You can't say, oh, no, I can't be there because I have to go on tour. No, I can't be there because such and such needs me down in New York or out in California or whatever. So years later, now, in 2026, 2025, I filed for my 501c3 nonprofit. And now now it's a nonprofit organization where not just a couple of things. What we do is it's an after-school program that we run Monday through Friday. We've already fed 263 meals to the kids. So we feed the kids. We have great relationships and partnerships with Jersey Mike and other local establishment. We do Thursdays where it's like family night where I have a team mom, so all the parents and guardians they chip in and they'll cook for the kids on Thursdays, so they have home cooked meals on Thursdays, which is dope. But we run music production. We run 2 classes in music production because I didn't grow up with FL Studio, so I have a kid who's really nasty at FL Studio. She's in the younger generation who loves to use FL Studio, how to make beats with FL Studio, and I teach the MPC, the Ableton and whatnot. We have a recording and engineering class where we teach kids Pro Tools and learning how industry standard, how to record, how to engineer, how to mix and master. A class for podcasting, just like this, so that way the kids are able to speak and have oh, they love it. They sit there, they put their phone and they got the app going and they talk about all kinds of crazy topics and whatnot, and it's a beautiful way for them to engage not only with each other but with the community and also with themselves in order to like get things off of their chest and talk about stuff that they don't normally talk about. And then we have a major esports program, which is massive nowadays. It's I think it's like over 500 million now online on it might be even higher on online now, e-gaming, esports. And we have a pipeline out here in Connecticut, which is dope, with Post University, where my CFO is going to be the adjunct professor for the class. So the kids are going to actually be able to get college credits in the class while they're in high school before they go to college. So it's going to be amazing. So like I'm really excited with that one because Valvoline Oil and a couple other sponsors have come in to sponsor the team, which is amazing. And it gives the kids a lot of time to, because everybody might be an athlete on the field, but they can play sports. If you can touch a keyboard and stuff like that, you could play. So that I'm very excited about that. And then our last program for right now, besides photography, is we have what's called Makerspace, a STEAM program. So kids learn how to take apart cell phones. We have all these cell phones all over the place and iPads and PCs, and they learn how to how these pieces of equipment actually work. They take them apart. They figure out how to fix their phones and put them back together. They even created an InYaHead repair shop, so it's really dope. So, and we run it. We just started. We got our first building December. I want to say it's 2025. So it's just amazing. I love doing it. We work with all kinds of kids and boys and girls from 13 to 19 years old. InYaHead.org. So if you want to participate, if you want to join in, tap in.
Incredibly impressive. Like, wow, that's truly inspiring too, how everything's come about as well. Well,
I appreciate it.
Amazing. Tell me about the Doc and Danze show and how that came about and what it's about.
The Doc and Danze show, which is funny because it came by accident. So Billy Danze of MOP, world famous rap group MOP from Brooklyn, that had the famous song Annie Up. Billy and Billy joined the InYaHead Academy back in, I want to say 2015 maybe. And he tours a lot, obviously, with the MOP. So his can't be here as much, but like what he tries to do is come up like once a month. And then what happened was we were raising money for the kids for Christmas. So in 2018, I want to say, we did a FaceTime. A Facebook Live show, and we were like, hey, what's up? We're out here, running InYaHead. Back then it was called InYaHead program before it became an academy. So we're out here, we're running for the kids. It's for the kids. Everything you donate goes to the kids, and da-da-da-da. And we're talking and we're joking and all that stuff, and we're just being ourselves. And it was like, yo, you guys are funny as hell. Like, this is really dope. Like, I should do it again. So we did it again. Same thing, raising money for the kids. Still Christmas time. Now I think we're at Christmas, and we're like, hey, now's your last chance to help donate to a family, because a lot of these kids, have parents that are on drugs, and not to say a lot of these kids, some of these kids have parents that have unfortunate situations, and the parent might sell off the ovens, the refrigerators, and they don't have anything to cook, anything to eat. So, we're sitting there, and Billy and I, we're going in, we're donating, we're replenishing with appliances and all kinds of stuff. So we did that, and then everybody was just like, yo, this is awesome. So they were like, y'all should do a show. The Doc and Danze show came to be, and then we started doing the show, and we started knocking at the door, Pop TV, different companies. They were like, the chemistry that you guys have, is he? So, we're working on the Doc and Danze show, and and then it's turned into a reality show, and then the pandemic hit, and then the writer's strike hit, and then so everything got shelved. So I went back to doing music. He went back to doing music, and then I came back, and did this and built this, and built InYaHead Academy, and now it's resurfaced, and now it's been reignited. I should say. And so now the Danze Show is we're currently shooting the pilot sizzle reel for the Danze Show. It's going to be called Still Standing, which is it's like a docu-series, reality show comedy series, where it's about Billy and I, but it's also about us helping people, helping kids with their struggles. You're going to see a lot of InYaHead Academy involved. You're going to see a lot of kids as they go through different, dilemmas and stuff like that. You're all going to see us helping, because we help a lot of people, not just kids but adults. So you're going to see us helping people get jobs. We help people. We have an alumni program, so kids that were in our program years ago that are 22, 25, 26 years old are with us. So we help them out a lot. It's amazing. Just imagine like Entourage, Robin Big, Oprah Winfrey, and what's that show where they the owner of the job comes in and saves people, or he watches people. Boss.
Yeah.
Seen that show? It's just think like all those 4 shows morphed together. You know what I mean? So we're really excited, and so we're in the acts of shooting it right now, and we have some more shooting dates in April.
Exciting, and yeah, it's incredible. Wow. Tell me about the story with Eminem, We Made You, from start to finish, and how it all transpired, because it's a truly remarkable story.
So, and it actually was 2 beats. So I made 2 beats, and I was like, I want to create something that's really different, because I wasn't really making those beats at the time. It was like really like hardcore hip hop type of beats. So but I make all types of stuff, pop, R&B, and this was like a chance for me to do something different. So I took the beat and I took the other one and I said, you know what? Let me make this the hook and this the verse. So I melody idea for a hook, and went through a whole bunch of writers and a whole bunch of singers. Like I want to say like the 5th was Charmaine Tripp, who's the singer that's still on the hook. And she came in, we're in the studio, and she's like, she's all over the place, because I like to let the artist be the artist and like let them come up with whatever they feel. I don't dictate and put them in a box, because then it takes away from their creativity. Excuse me. So coming up with all this stuff, the jazz singer, so like it's kind of out of her element to kind of come up with like a hip hop. So she's like, Doc, do you have like, what's the idea? Like, what do you see? And I said, honestly, I was 29 at the time, I want to say. And honestly, for this song, for this vibe, for this feeling, I see, me and my boys used to go to all these house parties. I don't know why, but there was just a lot of house parties during this time, and it was fun. And so what I see is like us coming into a house party, and so how like when you would step in and you and your crew would come in, and everybody would be like, oh shit, Doc's here, and I was like, it was such a good feeling. So like you walk into the party, and it's like a splash. You're making a splash, and at the same time, those that actually make you popular, like it's not you, it's them. And she was like, I got it. She was like, when you walked through the door, it was clear to me you're the one they adore, that they came to see. You're a rock star. Everybody wants you, player. Who could really blame you? We're the ones that made you. So I was like, get in the booth, let's record. Did it in one take, and then the rest was history. Well, I should say the rest was history about that part. And then this record, and there was a couple of artists that like passed on it, and was like they couldn't understand it. They were like, it's too weird, like it's too, over it. I think one of them said, I don't want to put anybody's name out there, but it was just like I was like, oh, I can let me show you. But and then it was like horrible management, and I had I had not a good team. I was surrounded by a unhealthy team, and push it to the side, and then my boy Olove, who me and him cannot, like we have no idea even to this day like how we met, and I wanted to shop it to Outkast down in Atlanta. So he was down in Atlanta, and he was like, hey, I could get up with Big Boy and get it to him in the studio. And I thought it would be dope to have Outkast over it with Sleepy Brown doing the hook, like doing something. Like he didn't have to do that exact same hook. Like he could do one of his hooks, but it was just like the idea. Sometimes I would sell beats with hooks, and they would change the hook sometimes, but it would give them an idea like, oh, this is dope, but I got a different idea for the hook. But like if you leave it naked, it's like they lost. Like artists, you need to help them for some reason. So hey, I'm in the studio with Bizarre from D12, and like, what do you think about him? And I was like, yeah, nah, he's different. Like I was like, he raps, yeah. And so I'm at a Jada Kiss show, and forget it. And then Bizarre's hit me. And finish. I emailed it. I sent it to you, and I was like, oh shit. So I'm there at the Jada Kiss show, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here and go back to the studio because I want to hear this. So I leave. I go to the studio. Jada Kiss was pretty much done. It wasn't like I left during the Jada Kiss show. So I don't want anybody thinking I got up and left during the Jada Kiss show, because I would never do that. But it was done, and we were already wrapping up, and like he was saying peace out to everybody, stuff like that. But I went back to the studio. I hear it. I listening to it, and I was like, crazy. This is crazy. Like he had me laughing because he says a lot of. I don't know if you know Bizarre from D12. But like there's a lot of crazy stuff on the records, and I was like, look, but like we got this radio friendly. And he, yeah, you're right. Give me to when I get back to Detroit, and I'll re-record it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm thinking he's gonna send me like a clean version or whatever. And between this time, like me and Bizarre have had a lot of dialect and like conversations together, and he jokes a lot. So like he jokes a lot. So like you can't take everything he says serious. So and it's been a while, and I'm in a session with Saigon, and I'm sitting there mixing down the session from Saigon, and I'm focused, and he's like, hey, I just left Mark the beat, and I whatever, and he's like, and then he starts laughing, and he's like, no, I'm sick. And then so I hung up. I was like, dude, I'm in a mixing session, like I need my ears, like back. And so because I fought him twice, and his cousin is who I know, who I grew up with, Bino. And so Gam calls me up, and he's like, yo, Doc, don't hang up. He's like, it's Gam. I'm like, what's up, man? And he's like, yo, he's serious, dude, don't hang up. Like, no, I'm in here with them, like this is real, like Marshall really wants to track. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, you being serious? And he's like, yeah. He's like, serious, like what Bizarre has to say. And so he was just saying like, hey, wants to track. I'm gonna give him your number. They want to call you. And I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. And then like quickly, and I was just like, I was so excited. You know what I mean? Because I was like, damn, Eminem, this is like the biggest hip hop artist in the world, and he's making a huge comeback too. You know what I mean? Because he had been hiatus for 4 or 5 years at the time. So it was really exciting, and it was just crazy because deal didn't go down like I wanted it to. I was fighting with my manager and Dre's attorney. My manager, who's he got locked up and he's long gone now, but he really screwed me over, and he teamed with Dre's attorney. and and so they didn't give me credits. Credits. They gave me co-production credits, and so it was like a bittersweet story. You know what I mean? Because it was like exciting, and you know it hurts. It hurts sometimes too because you don't see rewards a lot of times that you should have got from that. You know what I mean? Because it was a hit. I mean, it cracked the top 10 of the billboards. It went #1 in a lot of countries. He ended up winning a Grammy. We won a Grammy. You know what I mean? So you know, but it was definitely, and then it was definitely a different time because it was like in his first year of sobriety. So it was like every kind of like keeping him away because I was up there for like a week in Detroit almost. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, um, when I look back at it, obviously there's a lot of things that I could have did differently and things could have changed. And my health was a huge fact too at the same time because I was in and out of the hospital during those times. And health is better now. I have it more under control now. But I was dealing with a lot of lupus stuff, so it was tough. I've always dealt with health issues. You know what I mean? So.
Sure, that's an incredible story. Yeah, it's remarkable, truly remarkable. What's one you've ever received?
Um, Probably would be something related to like the InYaHead Academy stuff. Like when I hear a mom in and she was crying and she was telling me the story, which was emotional. She was losing her son to the streets or to his father. Lived in Florida, and it was amazing because I'm a parent. I'm a parent of two. Both my kids are in college. Kids, and I love kids. At the academy, that they're like an extension of my family. You know what I mean? And she was saying that you changed my life. She was like, you saved my life, and I was like, how so? But I kind of understood being a parent because saying her boy she's had her whole entire life, she would lose to either the streets because he was getting into some deep trouble. That's why he was sent down to Florida, and he said, "Mom, please let me come back. Like Doc is building this academy. I promise you, I will do great in school. I will stay out of trouble. I'm gonna just go to the academy. That's all I want to do." And this kid, he comes every day. Like he comes, he's up if he can't come here on the weekend. His grades are doing good, and he gets upset when his grades slip, and he hasn't gotten in any trouble. Thank God. And it was just crazy because she was like, "I thought I lost my son." And the fact that he's here and that he's with you, and that it's just it like that was then like industry stuff. You know what I mean? Where it's like I felt like you showed me I saved the family like that. That was huge, compliment like that hit right there in the heart. So
Inspiring. Thanks for sharing. Busy daily.
everything that's going on in the world, you know what I mean? It's chaos. So it's inspired me. You know what I mean? It's like, what can I do to help?
Um, you can change anything. It could be personally or professionally. What would you change?
Like you mean as far as for me or the world?
If
Or
you
what do
could
you
go
mean?
back, could be personally or professionally. If you could go back in time, let's say you're 18 again, and you could course of your life.
Um, Change like 2015. I probably would change that timeline. I was um here and I lost a lot that year. Everything was going great and impact. Like I would say maybe go back. I think that when I left the music industry because my grandfather passed. Really, he always had my back. I was exiled from my family when I was 15 years old. So he was the one that only had my back. Um, so losing him, I lost a lot of people, but losing him like really hit home. You know what I mean? And I wish I would have probably stayed the music industry and to create and continue to do all of that stuff because I feel like I lost a lot of time. You know what I mean? And during that period, I had a lot of fun. I was making a lot of money doing businesses. I mean, I had multiple businesses. I took all the music money and got into real estate, flipping houses and doing all that stuff. So I had a lot of fun during that time. But I would say probably back to that time, and you know, if it was me talking to me, you know, be able to sit there and be like, hey, like, look, you know, you're gonna get through this, and you know, stay the course, and everything's gonna work out, and it's better for you to, you know, to continue to not to stop flipping houses, like not to go into that life, because everything that's happened, unfortunately, I can't take anything. I can't take anything back, because everything that happened to me personally and everything that happened to me business wise put me into this position I am today. And that's why a lot of times, being the CEO of a nonprofit, you have to be able to talk to political people. You gotta be able to talk to other CEOs, organizations, sponsorships, and that's like the music industry, and it's also like the business world. So you know, everything happens for a reason. So unfortunately, you know, if there's anything, I probably should have married my girl when she was pregnant. And she was joking around, and we've been together 25 years, and she was joking around saying, you know, next year is our wedding to the guy. And it's like turning into like, are we ever going to, you know what I mean? So that probably should have been the, you know, the one thing that, you know, I go back, you know, and you know, who knew that we were going to be together this long, right?
Well, that's an incredible timeline, you know?
Oh yeah, I was young, you know what I mean? So it's crazy. So I was only 21 years old, so it's just like, you know, you don't think at that time that you're going to be with this person for, you know, forever.
Sure. Thanks for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. It's incredible. Thank you for sharing your insights and everything you've done. And yeah, it's remarkable everything you've achieved.
Man, thank you so much for having me on the show, Nick. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. You're very welcome, my friend.